Consider this. Are people less likely to believe information if it happens to be from somebody with an accent different from theirs? Or, same resume more valid if the name sounds more like a name from the predominant societal group, such as John, rather than a non-dominant group like Kwame? Most of us would probably say that an organization that makes talent management decisions in this way is doomed to mediocrity. And they are but a small sampling of the hundreds of ways we make decisions every day in favor of one group, and to the detriment of others, without realizing we are doing it.
The concept of unconscious bias has come to the forefront of our thinking in the 21st century. This change has been accelerated by new understandings of the way the brain works, as well as new technologies which allow mental processes to be observed. Unconscious bias is a response that is automatic and natural, but hidden from our conscious awareness. Each of us brings our own unique lens through which we interpret everything. This course familiarizes both individual employees or associates and members of management teams with conscious and unconscious bias. At the end of this course, you will be able to identify the filters through which you view and interpret yourself and others. You will also be able to identify patterns in your own ways of evaluating other people based on your cultural background. You will be able to identify the areas where unconscious perception and culture have the potential to impact your beliefs. Additionally, you will be able to anticipate professional situations where unconscious bias might influence your behaviors. Finally, you will be able to use 4 new behaviors that will assist you in managing your own unconscious bias and apply these learnings to your everyday work experience. Biases are preferences, tendencies, or inclinations. They often prevent the unprejudiced consideration of a person, group, or idea. The ability to distinguish safe from dangerous, to rapidly and sometimes automatically categorize information, is a fundamental quality of the human mind. It gives order to a world that constantly confronts us with information and stimulus. Every day we group people and situations into categories so we can make decisions about our world. Bias is what helps us do that grouping. Let us now explore how bias happens. Scientists estimate that we are exposed to nearly 11 million pieces of information at a time, and yet our brain can functionally recognize about 40 or so, and can actually only focus on about 7. How does our brain filter out the rest? We do it by developing a lens that filters out certain things and lets others in. We perceive or interpret things in certain ways, depending on our life experience and what those things might consciously or unconsciously remind us of. We also have preferences and biases that we have developed throughout our life. This is a normal, natural phenomenon. It is not something that bad people do. It is something that all people do. Next, we will explore the impact of the natural way we see and interpret the world on our relationships with others. Someone may not look like a great candidate based on what we think we know about him or her. But we might also be missing some aspect of their strengths that could be invisible to us. Let's explore that possibility through an exercise. Look at the image on the screen. Of the 2 blocks marked A and B, which block looks darker? As we see in the photo, Block A seems darker than Block B, but is it actually darker? Now you can see that A and B are actually the same color. We see them differently because our tendency to look at patterns, in this case the light and dark pattern, confuses us. Because of the shadowing effect caused by the cylinder, B seems lighter. Each of us has our own unique blueprint of beliefs, values, and norms that help us navigate our daily lives. These core beliefs are influenced by factors such as family of origin, membership in a religious or cultural group, educational preferences, educational experiences, and social interactions. We all need to challenge ourselves to become more aware of the beliefs that we consider most important. This helps us to develop greater awareness of our own preferences and a deeper understanding that our assumptions of what is acceptable or normal may appear to others as unacceptable and vice versa. We can be consciously committed to fairness and equality, treating everyone with dignity and respect. An awareness of unconscious bias allows and requires us to rethink fundamentally the way we approach teamwork, strategic decision-making, inclusion, talent management, and organizational culture on multiple levels. Organizations have focused a great deal of attention on trying to find ways for people, especially those in the dominant societal groups or majorities, to get inclusive. This creates 2 challenges. One challenge is that getting it on a conscious level may have little or no impact on our unconscious beliefs, and more importantly, our behavior. Secondly, assuming that only certain people need to learn this is inaccurate. It is behavior that all human beings engage in. However, just attempting to find new things to do will not be sufficient to create real change. For example, think about how many people know how to diet but are still overweight. We also have to work on developing a new awareness, a new paradigm for how we approach the way we think. We generally assume that we freely choose how we act, and that those choices are rationally based on data that we collect and preferences that we are aware of. All of this is based on the assumption that we see the world as it actually is. As an example, the way we assess co-workers or offer feedback about them, either informally or in more formal performance reviews, points to an area where we can easily evaluate others based on our own interpretations. In actuality, the feedback may actually be more about our filters than about the person we are evaluating.
Remember, our automatic decision-making is based on what psychologists have suggested is an unconscious danger detector that determines whether something or someone is safe before we can even begin to make any other determination about that situation or individual. When our immediate reflex assesses an object, animal, or person to be dangerous, we react with a fear response, often called fight or flight. This self-awareness exercise is designed to aid in your individual and organizational investigation of unconscious bias, that is, the unconscious beliefs that each of us has about members of various identity groups. Additionally, it will assist you in developing a more inclusive perspective, so that your actions might be more consistent with your intended professional decisions. For any progressive organization to gain and keep a competitive edge, it is important to identify the work areas where bias occurs while making decisions,